Hi, I'm Darya Niknamian. I'm the Content Marketing Manager for Dataconomy, and we're here at Berlin Buzzwords with Grant Ingersoll, the CTO and co-founder of LucidWorks. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we just wanted to ask you a couple questions, and the first foremost is, can you just tell us a bit about what you do and what your favorite part of your job is?
Sure. Like you said, my name is Grant Ingersoll. I'm the CTO. CTO is kind of a wide-ranging, define-your-own job. In the early days of the company, it meant I was primarily working on engineering and all of that. These days, I like to talk about it as the 3 C's. I write code, I go to conferences, and I talk to customers. And so I kind of split my time between those 3 things. Some weeks I'm doing code all the time. Some weeks I never even open up my IDE. So it really kind of depends. The cool thing for me is like the way my brain works is it's kind of likes to do a lot of different things, and so it fits really well with the way I like to work, and gives me a lot of freedom to explore new ideas, try things out. I get to meet a lot of cool people, and then you're kind of always learning at conferences. So.
Absolutely. I like that. The 3 C's. I feel like you could write a book about that. So maybe you should add that to the list.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool. And then, so I'm sure you're very aware of this, but a lot of people after DJ Patil said, data science is the sexiest job of the 21st century. I'm just wondering how you got to where you are today, and maybe if you have any tips for any aspiring data scientists, engineers, CTOs that you could give them.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I think there's no doubt that the world's run on data these days. For me, I started off with text engineering, doing software around natural language processing. To me, it's, go find a really hard problem that interests you. I think you will never be short of work and short of fun things to work on if you find that hard problem. It may be on the UI side, how do you display data? It may be on the back end of how do we process this at scale. So find that niche area and then just dig in. There's so much free data available these days, so you can learn so much just by trying things out and playing around with the data. And to me, at the end of the day, that's the really awesome thing about the open source community and the open data movements. And so from there, you can then kind of backfill the math. You often don't, data scientist often sounds really like you need to know a lot of math, but you can kind of back into it, if you will, by going with your hunches, taking intuition, and then learning the math afterwards. So it doesn't have to be as scary as sometimes it sounds when it comes to statistics and all those formulas.
Very cool. I like that. Great. And then another question. If you could work with a robot, what part of your job would you make it do?
Wow, if I could work with a robot, I think, a lot of just the tedious tasks around scheduling and organizing, like if we go back to those 3 C's, the cost of context switching is really high, right? So if the robot can reduce the cost of context switching, so for instance, when you're going to a lot of conferences or customers, you're traveling a lot, and so just that things like expenses and organizing your flights and all of those kinds of things, a lot of times you are doing so much of that it's hard to have another person do that for you, even as an assistant. And so because you're constantly changing, and so something that could smooth out all of those things, I think is probably where I would make that robot do the work.
I think I need that too. I would love that as well, actually, too, to do all your day-to-day stuff. Yeah,
well, and that's kind of the point of robots, right? Is to take away the grind kind of things and complement what we as humans do, not necessarily replace. So that's the future I hope for.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't want robots taking over the world. That would be bad.
Yep.
And then the last question I have for you. So I know you're from North Carolina. We just talked about this, but if a tornado were to hit your house, which could happen, I guess, in North Carolina, what other than your family, maybe, what's the first thing you would save? Would it be your virtual reality glasses or your smartphone?
Wow. Yeah, other than family and my dog, of course, which is part of the family. So those would be the first. Being that I write so much code and my kind of whole life is on my laptop, it probably would be my laptop. At least if we're talking technology, there's, of course, all the things like, family pictures and all of those things. So, sentimentally, on the sentimental side, I'd still probably answer that. But since we're talking to tech here, probably laptop, just because my whole life is on there. You know, the phone is almost always on you anyway, so it's probably coming with you.
Probably not on there. Cool. Thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to join you.
Yeah, thanks.